President Biden proposes landmark Supreme Court reforms, term limits, and ethics overhaul.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ECN. In a groundbreaking development, President Joe Biden is set to propose significant changes to the Supreme Court, aiming to introduce term limits for lifetime appointed justices and enforce a stringent ethics code. This unprecedented move marks a dramatic shift for Biden, who has previously resisted altering the structure of the nation's highest court. With the November election looming, this initiative seeks to invigorate the progressive wing of his party. The Washington Post was the first to report on these transformative proposals, citing two insiders. The changes might also include advocating for a constitutional amendment to eliminate broad immunity for presidents and federal officials, a direct response to a recent Supreme Court ruling that shields former President Trump from prosecution for actions taken in his official capacity. In a historic ruling on presidential immunity, the Supreme Court recently declared that Trump can be tried for private acts, but remains protected for actions taken while in office. Biden shared his plans with members of the House Progressive Caucus during a phone call on Saturday, as reported by the Post. "I'm going to need your help on the Supreme Court," Biden said, emphasizing the critical nature of this initiative. "I've been working with constitutional scholars for the last 3 months, and I need some help." Despite calls from some House Democrats for Biden to withdraw from the election, after a contentious debate on June 27th, progressive lawmakers remain supportive. Leading the charge, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, D. New York, recently filed articles of impeachment against Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, citing ethics violations and political bias. CNN corroborated these reports, with two anonymous sources indicating that Biden is seriously considering these Supreme Court reforms. However, the White House has yet to comment on these deliberations. While the specifics of the proposed term limits remain unclear, 8 Democratic senators have suggested limiting Supreme Court terms to 18 years, with new justices appointed every 2 years. Additionally, proposed ethics reforms follow last year's revelations of lavish travel accepted by Justice Thomas from GOP donor Harlan Crow and Justice Alito's controversial private jet trip in 2008. Senator Elizabeth Warren, D-Mass, and Representative Pramila Jayapal, D-Wash, have introduced legislation to impose a code of conduct for Supreme Court justices, ban justices from owning conflicting assets, and cap the value of gifts they can receive. However, expanding the size of the 9-member Supreme Court, a popular liberal proposal, is notably absent from Biden's current agenda. The Supreme Court, with a 6-3 conservative majority, has seen 3 justices appointed by Trump, while Biden has appointed 1, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Stay tuned to ECN for more updates on this developing story and other major political news. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.
GOP leaders unite at RNC. Bold speeches, safety priorities, and a call for Trump's return.
Prominent GOP leaders and Republican voters made their pitch to Americans across the country on the second day of the Republican National Convention, focusing on critical safety issues including crime, human and drug trafficking, and border security. Republicans heavily criticized President Joe Biden's handling of the southern border, the opioid epidemic, and more. A group of conservative lawmakers outlined the GOP agenda should they retain control of the House and reclaim the Senate and White House this fall. Some of Trump's most vocal allies took the stage on Monday, including Senator Ted Cruz, R. Texas, and Reps. Elise Stefanik, RNY. Among them were also former United Nations Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who called on Americans to grant the former president another term in office. On Monday, Trump announced his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, R. Ohio, who was formally nominated as Trump's VP pick. The convention proceeded under the shadow of an assassination attempt against Trump at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, over the weekend. An attendee was killed, and 2 others were seriously injured. Lara Trump gave the final speech of the second day, calling her father-in-law exactly what this country needs right now, and expressing gratitude for the overwhelming support received after the tragic shooting. The prayers and well wishes we've received over the last 72 hours have been overwhelming, to say the least, Lara Trump said. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also advocated for Trump's return to the White House, highlighting her personal relationship with him when she served as his press secretary. Sanders shared how Trump supported her during attacks and criticism from the media and across Washington. The left doesn't care about empowering women, Sanders said. Biden and Harris can't even tell you what a woman is. They only care about empowering themselves. Sanders also claimed divine intervention in thwarting Trump's assassination attempt, stating, "God Almighty intervened because we are one nation under God, and he certainly wasn't finished with Donald Trump." Florida Governor Ron DeSantis delivered a fiery speech, warning that America cannot afford 4 more years of what he called Joe Biden's weekend at Bernie's presidency. Life was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected when Donald Trump was commander-in-chief, DeSantis declared. The family of Rachel Morin, who was tragically killed last year, also spoke at the convention. Michael Morin, Rachel's brother, recounted how Trump comforted their family in the wake of her death, showing real leadership and compassion. Nikki Haley addressed the convention, expressing her strong endorsement of Trump and emphasizing unity within the party. "My message to Republican voters hesitant about a second Trump term is simple. You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him. Take it from me," she said. The RNC continues to showcase a united Republican front, emphasizing safety, leadership, and the return of what they believe is the best path forward for America. Stay tuned to ECN for ongoing coverage of the Republican National Convention and all major political developments. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.
Ohio police officers fatally shoot armed man during RNC in Milwaukee, sparking outrage and demands for accountability.
In a tragic incident on Tuesday, Ohio police officers providing security at the Republican National Convention, RNC, in Milwaukee, shot and killed a man who authorities say was armed with knives and attempting to attack another individual. Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman reported that officers from Columbus, Ohio, observed a man brandishing 2 knives involved in an altercation with an unarmed man. When the suspect refused commands to drop the knives and charged at the other man, 5 officers opened fire, resulting in the suspect's death. Someone's life was in danger, Chief Norman stated at a news conference. These officers, who are not from this area, took it upon themselves to act to save someone's life today. 2 knives were recovered at the scene, and authorities believe the altercation was unrelated to the convention. Columbus Division of Police Chief Elaine Bryant released a statement detailing the shooting, which occurred on the convention's outer security perimeter. Alongside the statement, video footage from an officer's body-worn camera was made public. The 31-second video starts with officers briefing before turning their attention to the altercation. The footage shows officers running towards the scene, commanding the armed man to drop his weapon before opening fire as the suspect appeared to walk toward the other man. The fatal shooting has sparked anger and criticism from local activists and community members. At an evening news conference, activist Alan Chavoya expressed frustration. "We're not even 2 days into this RNC, and we have a casualty. How is that possible?" And guess what? As always, no answers from the MPD, no transparency, no accountability. Eyewitnesses to the shooting questioned the necessity of lethal force, with some asserting that the suspect was unarmed. If he didn't have any knives, all should have tackled him or something. Why you gotta shoot him? A witness, who provided only a first name, commented. Pastor Redante Ashford of the Infinite Church questioned the presence of out-of-state officers in Milwaukee. There's only 2 reasons any of us that even live in Milwaukee would even be in this area, either for something helpful or something harmful. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, of Wisconsin, has called for a full and transparent investigation into the shooting. More than 4,000 additional law enforcement officials are in Milwaukee for the RNC, and we've long feared how this heavy police presence could increase the risk of deadly police encounters, especially by out-of-state officers who don't know and aren't accountable to our community, stated ACLU Executive Director Melinda Brennan. We offer our condolences to the friends and family of the person killed. The incident remains under investigation, and authorities are urging the public to await the findings before drawing conclusions. Milwaukee Police Chief Norman emphasized the importance of a thorough and transparent process to address the community's concerns. Stay updated with ECN for more information on this developing story and other major news. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.
Federal judge upholds Biden administration's rejection of Georgia's Medicaid extension with work requirement.
A federal judge has ruled that the Biden administration legally declined Georgia's request to extend its unique Medicaid plan, which mandates work requirements for recipients. Judge Lisa Godbey Wood determined that Georgia did not meet federal extension requirements, prompting the rejection of its request to prolong the Georgia Pathways to Coverage program from September 2025 to 2028. Republican Governor Brian Kemp's office expressed intent to work with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, to secure additional time to prove the program's effectiveness. The Georgia Pathways program, unique in its requirement for recipients to complete 80 hours of work, volunteer activity, or schooling monthly, also restricts coverage to adults earning below the federal poverty line. The Biden administration revoked the work requirement in 2021, but it was reinstated following a lawsuit by Georgia. The state sued again in February, arguing that the revocation delayed the program's implementation, shortening its approved term. CMS rejected Georgia's extension request twice, citing non-compliance with public notice and comment requirements. In her ruling, Judge Wood emphasized that while the Biden administration's prior actions delayed the program, Georgia must adhere to rules for extending the program. If Georgia wants to extend the program beyond the September 30th, 2025 deadline, it has to follow the rules for obtaining an extension, Wood wrote. Stay updated with ECN, subscribe our YouTube channel, share and comment. We are love to hear from you. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.
Python-inspired medical device could revolutionize rotator cuff surgery.
Each year, 2 million people in the United States suffer from rotator cuff injuries, yet only 600,000 receive surgical treatment. A new medical device, inspired by python fangs, might significantly improve these statistics by enhancing surgical outcomes. Rotator cuff surgeries currently have failure rates between 20 and 94%. This high likelihood of re-tearing often deters doctors from opting for surgery. However, a novel device developed by biomedical engineer Stavros Tomopoulos and colleagues could change this narrative. The device, used in conjunction with standard sutures, could double the strength of surgical repairs and reduce the risk of re-tearing, according to a study published in the June 28th issue of Science Advances. The device features an array of small, pointed teeth designed to latch onto the tendon and bone, distributing and minimizing the force on the damaged tissue. This design was inspired by the inward curving fangs of pythons, which dig deeper as prey struggles, providing a stronger grip compared to the sharp, cutting teeth of sharks. This was kind of a light bulb moment, says Tomopoulos of Columbia University. The team optimized the size and geometry of the teeth through calculations and computer simulations, followed by 3D printing of the teeth and arrays. Collaborating with surgeons, they tested various iterations on cadavers, comparing shoulders repaired with only sutures to those repaired with the addition of the device. The results showed that shoulders with the device had twice the holding strength. Before the device can be used clinically, it must be tested in live animals to ensure long-term functionality and safety. Ghanshyam Acharya, a biomedical researcher at Baylor College of Medicine, emphasizes the importance of these tests, noting potential risks such as material degradation or tendon injury as the body heals. Despite these concerns, the study represents a significant and innovative first step toward more effective rotator cuff surgeries. Stay tuned to ECN for more updates on medical advancements and other major news. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.
Brad Pitt fights. Angelina Jolie's secrecy bid in Chateau Miraval battle amidst Kim Jae-jung's spectacular 20th anniversary Flower Garden album release.
Brad Pitt continues his legal battle with ex-wife Angelina Jolie over the financial handling of their former winery, Chateau Miraval. On Thursday, Pitt filed a motion to dismiss Jolie's request for his private communications, which includes messages about a 2016 family plane trip where Pitt allegedly attacked Jolie and their children. Pitt argues that these communications are irrelevant to the case and accuses Jolie of turning a business dispute into a relitigation of their divorce. Jolie's April motion claims Pitt wanted her to sign a non-disclosure agreement as a condition of buying her Miraval shares, accusing him of trying to control and financially drain her and hiding his alleged history of abuse. Pitt's attorneys described Jolie's request as a sensationalist fishing expedition. The dispute escalated in 2022 when Jolie opened up about the alleged abuse she and her children suffered at Pitt's hands during a flight. In an October 2022 filing, Jolie's lawyers claimed that Pitt grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her, then grabbed her shoulders and shook her again before pushing her into the bathroom wall during a flight from the Chateau Miraval winery in France to California. Pitt was also accused of getting violent with some of his children during the altercation. In Thursday's filing, Pitt's attorneys assert that he voluntarily offered to produce documents sufficient to show everything that occurred on the flight that precipitated the ex-couple's divorce. Jolie's new legal filing alleges that Pitt's abuse started well before the 2016 incident, which marked the first time he allegedly turned his physical abuse on the children as well. Following this incident, Jolie immediately left him. In September 2016, reports emerged of Pitt being investigated by the FBI and the Los Angeles County Department of Children and Family Services for the in-flight altercation. The legal and personal conflicts between Pitt and Jolie continue to unfold as they navigate their contentious divorce and business disputes. Stay updated with ECN for more on this developing story and other major news. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide. Gratitude is just one word to describe how Kim Jae-jung feels lately. The Korean singer and actor, who started 2 decades ago with the idol group TVXQ, has cemented himself as a pioneer in the overseas industry. To be honest, it is a grateful opportunity to be able to stay active for 20 years after debuting, the 38-year-old told USA Today. This industry is known for a short activity span on average, so I am very thankful for being able to push through. Jae-jung's career has seen significant changes, reflecting the evolving Korean entertainment industry. After his acting debut and departure from TVXQ in 2009, he formed JYJ and began releasing solo music in 2013. Over the years, he has won numerous awards and topped music charts. Despite the ups and downs, one thing has remained constant: the unwavering support of his fans. I could not have stayed active until today if they didn't support me on the way. I was never alone, Jae-jung shared. In celebration of his 20th year since debut, Jae-jung released Flower Garden on June 26. Through this album, he aimed to convey his experience, expressions, and love that I received over the last 20 years through songs. Flower Garden paints a vivid picture of Jae Jung's career. The flowers represent love, while the greater garden symbolizes the immense love his fans have for him. I was relieved and glad to have different spaces of expression for each song, he explained. While some might assume the album is solely about love, it also explores his journey of identity and personal growth. Stay tuned to ECN for more updates on your favorite artists and major entertainment news. Remember, at ECN, we deliver, you decide.